Hello and welcome to Around the Ice here on Fantasy in Frames, a hockey podcast. Check us all out on all our other shows on Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sunday mornings. All the rest of those are betting shows and football shows. But tonight you have us, the hockey crew, the hockey guys, and we got the Frozen Frenzy tonight. Everybody in action around the NHL tonight. We'll get with it here in just a second. Stick with us. Around the Ice is next. My usual co-host, Brian Toast Clark, out tonight, but I've got special guest Jack joining us. We appreciate it, along with Aaron Tometich. Guys, thanks for joining us here on this wonderful Tuesday night with all kinds of hockey action.
Yeah, good to be here. Good to be here. Toast is might be a little overwhelmed with all these games. Don't know. Needed the night off, I guess. But yeah, great night for hockey.
Well, let's start things off as we got a couple late games here that are getting ready to kick off. Let's talk about them in case anybody wants to get in some last minute bets. Anything that we kind of like, we're going to throw out there before we kind of recap a bunch of games going on right now. We'll talk about them and kind of some of the things that are happening. We'll talk a little about fantasy, where guys are at, who's been hot, who's been cold throughout. One getting ready to drop the puck right now is Pittsburgh at Calgary. This one's, Pittsburgh, we were not really high on them at the beginning of the year. Got off to a decent start. They're sitting currently at 3-4. The Flames, a team that I don't think anybody had being very good this year. Jackie says he likes them 4-0-1 start. The Flames have looked fantastic. Anything you guys like in this one? This is kind of, Flames trying to keep it rolling here at home against the Penguins.
I mean, I like a bunch of stuff, but I play, I think, a little bit differently. And you said right there, like, who had the Flames doing good? I did. I had the Flames doing good.
Nice.
And it's only because I come in the hockey season like I don't know anything. Like with football, I think you come in with preconceived notions because teams, how they've represented themselves throughout the years, organization. I have none of those preconceived notions for hockey. So I can tell you purely on the fact of I thought the initial emotional stuff from the Johnny Gaudreau incident, to be frank, for both Columbus and Calgary would give them an early season boost. And I'm not going to lie, I have Monahan and Huberdeau on multiple fantasy teams. So Popsicle has been kind of a standout, and I've streamed in Rasmus and a couple other guys. So it's just funny to be like, who saw that coming? I saw it coming. I saw it coming for both teams. Again, I think people overlook sometimes just the emotional intangible in sports is just something that I usually bank on. It doesn't matter what the sport is. It transcends sports, right? In the sense of it doesn't matter if it's basketball, puck, or football. When something happens an incident like that and a team galvanizes around whatever that situation might be, I'll bank on those teams for at least that early short stint to get some fire.
Yeah, I love it. I took in our new Dynasty startup league, I took Andrew Mantha with my last pick, and Mantha has been Anthony Mantha has been crushing it for me so far. So I've been pumping him 2 goals, 2 assists. Give me some early season points. You gotta love that from a guy that everybody's like, you sure you want him? I'm like, I'm going to take a shot, man. I was like, he's going to play a lot over there, at least early on. So, getting some fantasy fire for him. Do you like any bets tonight? What do you like? You going to, I was waiting on a couple of these. I was going to decide if I was going to jump on some live bets here late, as the early games have been kind of crazy. Do you think the Calgary gets it done tonight, or is it the Penguins finally take them and knock them off and get them off the undefeated streak?
I mean, I think the Flames win. So, I mean, again, I play differently probably. Like, I did a lot of props on individual players on Underdog, Drafters, and Owner's Box. And I really spread it across those three. But, like, some of the stuff I was seeing was, like, Backlund and Kuzmenko both had 2.5 shots on goal. I took the over on that in a couple different spots. Malkin and Rick Racks, same thing, 2.5 shots on goal. Took the over on that, hoping for a high-scoring game. I think Calgary wins, but I also even took the over on Dustin Wolf 2.5 goals against, because I think this is like a 6-3 type of game. Like, I do think Pittsburgh's going to score 3 goals, but I think Flames are just going to score more. Like I said, I think everybody's hot on that team, and Huberdeau's another one, only 0.5 assists. That's a smash to me on the over. He's already done it 2 of 5 games. And Popsicle was another one. He had a goal on Underdog 0.5, but with a multiplier of 3.5. I was like, ooh, that's juice. And with how many goals I'm expecting in this game, like, I could definitely see him getting one. So he's been on a bit of a trend too.
Yeah, I'm loving the over. I like those bets you're on there. Those all sound good to me. I love the over 6.5 goals in this game. What about you, Aaron? What do you think about this one?
Same. Couldn't agree more with both of you on the
Zeri
goals.
and Crosby too.
Yeah, yep, yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a goal fest. Pittsburgh absolutely stinks on defense right now. Calgary's playing. I like that take on your emotion, Jack, what you were saying about that. Like, didn't even think about that. And then to your point, I don't know if you've looked at the Columbus score lately, but they are absolutely drumming the Maple Leafs. So you've got like you said, the 2 connected teams there, Columbus and Calgary, and they're they're supporting that theory. I like that take, but yeah, no, in the Penguins Flames, I think the puck just dropped. Definitely the over. I kept it simple on that, but I like all the props you guys are calling out on those. Again, Pittsburgh, I think their glaring thing, they have no goaltending, and their line 1 defense has been atrocious. Whether it's Carlson out there, he's been giving up some pizzas, just giving goals against. Letang the same. These are 2 offensive wizards, but they just don't have the decor. And the Flames, I did not think they'd be the best team in Alberta right now. I mean, at 4-0-1, I don't know what to expect, so I'm a little nervous with them. But the shot props are a safe bet, I think, on that. And Huberdeau, he's a pass machine. He likes to pass first, so I like that on the assist there too.
Nice. We got a couple other of the late games. Let's get into those first before we talk and go back into some of these games that are already going on. We got the Sharks Ducks game coming up here in about 45 minutes. And then the last game of the night, Kings versus the Golden Knights. That one kicks off here in about an hour and 20 minutes. Either one of you guys got anything you like, either, puck line on this, over-unders, shot props, scoring props, given to me, whatever you guys got.
I'll keep this one pretty simple. I just got one on the Sharks and Ducks. I've been watching the Sharks play. Of course, with Celebrini out, it's not as much fun, but still been catching a lot of the Sharks game. They played the Avalanche pretty closer than what the final score showed. They actually kept up with them in the high danger shots, and high danger is defined by you're shooting right in front of the goalie or you're getting a rebound and a quick second shot. They matched them 1-for-1 on the high danger shots when they played, again, potentially Stanley Cup contender, although they're kind of slow out of the gate. And they also outchanced them, not shots on goal, but just shots. The Corsi rating was good. So the Sharks have been playing better than the 0-4. So I'm going Sharks money line. It was, I think I got them at +2, right around +200, I think. But I parlayed that with some others. But and I'll let you guys talk about the player props on that one. But that's all I took on that one, just because, again, you have a lot of second and third line, just the young teams in both of these Anaheim Duck, total teardown rebuild, Sharks, total teardown rebuild. I don't know half the names on the squad, so I'm going to keep it simple on this one.
Yeah. How about you, Jack? Anything you like coming up in these other games?
Between you guys and Underdog, I suddenly have like $50 on this game because in preparing for this, I Danglers After Dark on Underdog dropped, so I did 4 of those. They're $10 each, and I did a bunch of props, like some like the pick'ems on. I spread them across drafters, owners box, and I did a couple on Underdog too. But yeah, I went heavy actually on a lot of the Vegas LA stuff. But before that, the stuff I like in the San Jose Anaheim game, Wallman, this guy Wallman, Jake Wallman, the defenseman's been going crazy lately. 2.5 shots. I took the over on that. I took the over on everything, by the way. I'm very, very pro over. I feel like taking the under just sucks, especially in hockey when it's like such low. It's like 0.5. I'm like, I'm not taking the under on 0.5. That's just being a hater. So literally,
I rarely take the under on anything. Like, unless I'm just like, I think a guy's ice cold and playing absolutely horrible, and I'm like, this guy is no way in hell he scores. That's like the only time I'm ever going unders. I hate to bet the unders. I hate to, especially if you're a fantasy guy, you want overs and everything because you want points. So it's so hard to bet against it the other way. It just kills me.
Yeah, even Cam Fowler. He hasn't done it all year, but I saw the line at only 1.5 shots, and I was like, 1.5 shots, so 2 shots. You're telling me this guy takes 2 shots on goal and I win this bet? I'm taking that bet. I don't care if he's done it this season. But there were actually like some really good ones. So like Troy Terry has pointed in 4 or 5 games. So the over on him at 0.5 points, that was an easy one. Toffoli has been lighting it up. So is Granlund. So 0.5 points on either one of them. But Toffoli also 2.5 shots on goal. I took the over on that in a couple different bets. And then I was talking about the kid Wallman, but also Eklund. 3 times this year he's had over 2.5 shots on goal. So I took the over on that in a couple different bets. Again, kind of when I do stuff. So like if you guys want to tail me out there, I have one going of just the late games. So Barbashev, Toffoli, and Troy Terry over on 0.5 points. So it doesn't matter what it is. And then Hurdle, also 0.5. And then Laferriere and Zetterlund, 2.5 shots on goal. I took the over on both. So
I'm liking those a lot. I like those. The other guys I was liking points. Fiala for the Kings has been real good lately. I grabbed him and got won a parlay with him in it the other day, and then Toffoli, like you said, for San Jose. I just really liked what I've seen out of him so far this year. A lot of energy. He just feels like he's all over the ice. Every time I look up in a San Jose Sharks game, I'm like, oh, there he is. There he is again. It just seems like he's always in the mix. And whenever I see that, that's those guys I want like a point because I think they can just make something happen.
Yeah, Eklund and Zetterlund too. I've just been kind of throwing them in some lineups. But then the Vegas LA game. This is where I think there's going to be a little more action. I actually think this could turn, like, of the 2 games, this is the one that, to me, that there could be more scoring. I don't know that it necessarily will be, but I know they haven't declared Aiden Hill. I know because I have him in a league, and he doesn't have that sweet little green check mark yet. But I don't know who's I forget who the other goalie is now because Logan Thompson went to Washington, didn't he?
Yeah.
So could be a little bit more high score. I know Dave Rittich is going to be in goal for the Kings. So this one, again, I took a lot of Eichel points. Eichel assist, 0.5. That was easy. Kopitar also, 0.5 assist. That was an easy one. Kempe and Stone also fall in that category for points. Barbashev, Hurdle, and Fiala. You already mentioned him. And then shots on goal. Kopitar only 1.5. Again, if I have to just bank on a guy getting 2 shots, and also he's already done it twice this year. He actually has shown up, and it seems like it's important games. Like it was Toronto and Buffalo. He shot when he had to. And this feels like he might have to. Laferriere was another one that I repeated. And then Eichel, the only thing I avoided was I felt like his shots was a little bit high. It was 3.5. I know he can do that, but he doesn't always. So that one was the one that I stayed off of. And then 1.5 points too. I was like, again, they could just end up being other dudes. The second and third line end up doing stuff. So like the really high stuff like that, I kind of avoided. But anytime I see like that sweet 1.5 shots or 0.5, points, especially, I'm like, oh, that's an easy bank.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It looks like they finally have announced that Samsonov is going to start for Vegas over Hill tonight. So I did just see that they are reporting that he is going to get his third start of the season. First start, he had 23 saves, gave up 1 goal, or 23 shots against, 22 saves, gave up 1 goal, and then 49 shots against Florida, had 45 saves, gave up 4 goals in that one. So that's his 2 starts so far this year.
Yeah, I definitely don't think LA's putting up 49 shots, but I'm hoping they put up 30.
There you go. There could be 20 goals in that game. I mean, Rittich and Samsonov stinks. He was terrible in Toronto. Now I say that, watch, he does. I didn't realize
they don't pitch a shutout just because
exactly. It'll be a 1-0
smack about him.
Exactly.
But that's because they don't have my boy Stellars in that.
Yeah, he hasn't looked too bad, but the Kings and Golden Knights. I again, the game's too close to call. Didn't even know about the Aiden Hill thing till you mentioned it, and I just looked, and yeah, you're right. And then of course JT just confirmed it. It's Samsonov and net, but with LA and Vegas, a couple of props on that. I think you said it a couple times there, Jack, with Kevin Fiala. Dude's had 24 shots, only 1 goal in. I got Fiala on an anytime goal. Those are usually plus. I think I can't remember because I parlayed it with a couple other bets. But Fiala, I think he tucks one in tonight. And then I've got Eichel over on the point on the 0.5 assists. He'll get a helper out there. I think he's got 8 or 9 on the year. 8. He's got 8 assists. 8 apples for Eichel. I think he'll get his 9th one tonight at least. And again, hoping for a 9 to 10 type of score on that game. Let's just keep those goals going. But yeah, it could be a shootout. Hopefully we see another one. I think that other one just wrapped up. Yeah, 13 goals in the Lightning Devils game. So that's crazy. That's setting the standard. Be tough to follow that one.
I just found 2 other bets that people can tail me on Underdog for Pick'em. So on Underdog, this one was a little easy one. Tanner Janot, more than 3 hits. Leferrier gets a goal. Barbashev gets a goal, and Kopitar gets a power play point. So if that happens, I win $244. These are all $2 bets too. And then the other one was Toffoli, Troy Terry, Eklund, and Zetterlund. All they need is 2.5 shots on goal each. And then Wallman needs to get a goal. If that happens, $157.
I'm liking those. Let's if you guys think of any more live bets or anything you like as we get going, feel free to jump in and go over those. But since you guys just brought it up, let's recap some of the games as it is the Frozen Frenzy tonight. Everybody in the league playing here on a Tuesday. There's something new they just started doing. Was last year the first year, or was it the year before they did this? I can't remember. It was last year. I know we did a show last year when they did it. I couldn't remember they did the year before. But I just love this idea. Tuesday night, middle of the week, get everybody out there, get things going on a night where there's not much else going on. I think the NBA started at night, but I think they only had 1 or 2 games maybe. Their big night is tomorrow. So I thought this was a nice one. Well, they got 2 games going tonight?
Yeah, they've got 2 games. I got $200 on it.
There we go, man. See, that's the best part. Tuesday night, gambling night, you can't beat it. But this Devils Lightning game was wild. Like you said, we got ourselves an 8-5 finish in this one. Jack Hughes got things started off with a goal. Then Braden Point came back on a power play, tied it up 1-1 after the first. Pretty close there to start. Then Timo Meyer came through with a goal with assist from Jack Hughes, made it 2-1, and then the Lightning just went off. They just started pelting the Jake Allen. I tell you what, the Devils, they keep trying more guys, and they cannot find anybody to stop shots in goal. But they just piled them on. Hedman got a goal, then Hagel, 3 in a row for the hat trick for Hagel, and then Hedman finished it off in the second to go up 6-2 as they got 5 unanswered goals in the second. 2 goals by the Devils to start the third by Bastian and Meyer to try to get it within 2 goals, and then Tampa Bay slammed the door shut. Gunsel a power play goal to make it 7-4, and then Mosier got a shorthanded goal to make it 8-4, and then a last a second ditch effort to make it 8-5 in this one. Jack, I think you were saying something about Brandon Hagel on one of your fantasy teams before the show.
Yeah, sadly, he is on my bench.
That one hurts.
Just that's the nature of the beast on the Tuesdays when you have so many games. And this league, too, very specific where it's all forwards. So there's no, roster-specific settings. So it is very much just you play your best guys. And I had an easy 4 of Nylander, Eichel. I'm forgetting off the top of my head the other 2, but it was McKinnon's one, but it's just obvious. And then I was making decisions, and I went with some matchup based plays, as fantasy players are prone to do. And Hagel was the guy that ended up on my bench, and I deeply regret that now.
Those ones are hurt. You don't see the hat trick that often. When you get the hat trick and it's on the bench, that one's brutal. I feel like I felt that here lately where I've seen I can't quite make the right fantasy decision here late, but the Lightning improved to 4-2. The Devils 5-3-1 after the loss. Other early games, Sabres 4-2 winners over the Stars. Sabres improved to 3-4-1. Stars dropped to 5-2. Sabres got things off early. They got up 3-0 in this game. Krebs with a goal, McLeod, and then Tage Thompson to make it 3-0. Dallas fought back with a Harley and Tyler Seguin goal to make it 3-2, and then Alex Tuch, empty netter to finish it off in the 4-2 win for Buffalo, who got off to a slow start. They're starting to get back in it here a little bit, as the hope is that they didn't just tank it at the beginning of the year like they did last year, and there was just no coming back after the horrible start last season.
Yeah, and with the Sabres, I mean, it's Lindy Ruff. It's his second go around there in Buffalo. He was the coach at the time, back when Dallas won the Cup. What was that, 01, 02? But it was the infamous Brett Hull and the foot in the crease goal. So, in Lindy Ruff, he had kind of a rough time in New Jersey. It wasn't all his fault. They had a lot of injuries, but nonetheless, he's back in Buffalo. I really think they needed this game, and the fact that they beat a contender, I think a perennial Stanley Cup contender. When obviously we on this pod have been big on Dallas this year, last year. We'll always they got a team built to win for probably 3-4 more years. But good to see the Sabres win at home. Give those Buffalo fans something to cheer about. They they got the Bills and the Sabres, and it's about it there. But they no, good win. And I'll go back to those two. The two games you've kind of recapped already, JT. You're naming a lot of the big names. That's another thing too tonight that I've seen on the score sheet. It's line 1 and line 2 guys that are scoring, at least in these early games. Every name you just rattled off there between those two recaps, these are all top 5 round fantasy players. So it's good to see that, because you got some guys that maybe have started a little cool, or like a Hagel again, who had that on their bingo card of a natural hat trick, not just a hat trick, but a natural hat trick. And I'll have to look at the timings when he scored that. I mean, he banged him out pretty quick. 4 power play goals in that game and a shorthanded goal in that Lightning Devils game. So special teams seems to be a big deal tonight already too in these early games.
Yeah, and I felt Jack's pain in this game as I just before puck drop, I took Owen Power out of my lineup, switched him out. He had really struggled to score this year, and really on defensively was getting like 1 or 0 hits and like 1 block a game. He was one of the lowest scoring players on my team, so I sat him. What'd he do? 3 assists tonight and 4 blocks. 3 assists and 4 blocks with a shot on goal for Owen Power just sitting on my bench. So I feel your pain there, Jack, because I just looked at that and realized that he just outscored everything he had done this season up to this point in this one game for me. So that one hurts there. The other game we got here is we got Wild Panthers, the Wild. Taking it to the defending champs 5-1 Wild in this one. They got off to a quick start with 2 goals in the first. Marco Rossi and Marcus Johansson with the 2-0. Then Boldy with the power play goal got him up 3-0. Sam Bennett continue to play well, try to get him back in it with I know Matthew Tkachuk assist on there. I know Toast had him in a parlay with a point. So got one there. Then Zaccarella and Eriksson Ek finished things off. A really nice performance there for Minnesota. I tell you what, they didn't get a lot of shots on goal, but when they did, they put them in net. As I sat Bob tonight, Bobrovsky, and I'm really glad I did, is he had 16 shots against, gave up 5 goals, only 11 saves. 5 goals and 11 saves for Bob. We don't usually give a lot of negative points in our Dynasty League, but he definitely scored me negative points tonight. So I'm glad he was on the bench to kind of even things out with Power being there. On the other side, Gustafsson, 25 shots against, 24 saves, just 1 goal given up. And if you played Middleton, good for you. 3 assists for him on the night.
I got a fun little random question and aside for you guys because Gustafsson had that goalie goal, right?
Yep.
There's only been like 16 of them in the history of the NHL or something like that. So let me proposition you fellows. I believe that goalie goals should be worth 100 points. I think if your goalie gets a goal, like that should be built into the system of it's. And there are some fantasy football leagues out there where they do this, where it's like if the quarterback makes a tackle, it gets an outrageous amount of points and it like breaks the week. I think a goalie goal should do that in fantasy hockey. I truly believe that if a goalie scores a goal, it should be 100 points. You should automatically win the week just because of that. If it's only happened 16 times in the history of the NHL, I think that would be a hilarious little caveat to put into fantasy hockey.
I'm a huge fan of that. I don't know what you think, Aaron. I love like random super big bonuses for something like super hard to get. I know in like my NBA league, we give a pretty good bonus for a triple double, but very, very rarely do anybody get a quadruple double. And we have like a huge bonus. It's not 100 points, but it's a pretty big bonus if you get a quadruple double. I love that idea. I remember when I can't remember if we were on a pod or we just got done and like whatever, everybody's like, Texas like goalie goal. Like it was like, he was like, what? It's like everybody's like, that thing was freaking wild. But I love that idea, Jack. 100 points for the goalie goal. Absolutely. I remember watching the replay. I love that thing. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it wasn't easy what he did. He whipped it over everybody's head. I mean, that was a legit athletic accomplishment to get that puck all the way down there and be that accurate with it. I'm all for the 100 point. I love it. I know Toast is out of action tonight. He just got a text. Hey, let's get this. We're gonna
have to vote that in for the league next year for sure. I love that idea.
I love it.
You guys are a lot more receptive than my league was because when I proposed it to them, they were like, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard."
They're like, absolutely not. They're like, we're not doing
no.
it.
Yeah, they're like, no, definitely not. They're like, maybe if Yahoo builds it in, we'll make it like 5 points. I was like, that's lame.
Yeah, you're like, okay, 5
Hours.
points for something that's like almost impossible and never
Yeah.
happens. They're like, oh no. It's like somebody's like, oh, dude throws a perfect game in baseball. They're like, oh, 2-point bonus. You're like,
Yeah.
it's like a perfect game.
That's what I
2
mean.
points.
I feel like I think fans just don't have a grasp, and honestly, it's just humans. Like, humans don't understand numbers. Like, the people that don't grasp the difference between like a billion and a million, like, it's the same people that don't understand like the historicity of how many goal eagles there have been in the history of the NHL. We're talking about 100 years of this sport, and it's happened 16 times.
Yeah. Oh, you get people like that sometimes at like live events. I tell this story. I've told the story a million times. When I was in college, I was living in San Diego, and I was at a Padres Marlins game, and both teams were terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible. But I think we went to the game for like $5. I mean, it was like super cheap tickets. Me and a couple buddies go. We get in there. It's like, I mean, we're barely paying attention. None of us are fans of either of these teams. We're just hanging out at the ballpark because we got nothing else to do on like a Saturday night. We're just hanging out. Next thing I know, I look up and I'm like, I think he's throwing a freaking no-hitter. They're like, no. I'm like, I think so, man. It's like, dude, I'm like going back and I'm looking. I was like, it says he hasn't given up a hit. And we're looking. They're like, dude, there's been runners on base every freaking inning. Well, then we get up there and we realize he's walked players every inning. He's had someone in scoring range at second every freaking inning. He gets wild. People are getting up and leaving in like the 7th, 8th inning. I'm like, what are you doing? He's throwing no hitter. They're like, so? I'm like, do you know how rare it is to see a no hitter live in person? I don't care if you don't hate everyone. Like, you have to stay and root for this no hitter. People are just taking off. I'm losing my mind. I'm like, how can you not be doing it? So ends up throwing a no hitter. The Marlins pitcher throws a no hitter. The Padres, it was ended up being the second time they got no hit in like a 1 month span or something. It was ridiculous. But he also set a record for most walks ever in a game that he threw a no hitter. He had a runner in scoring position every inning and ended up throwing the no hitter, not giving up any runs. It was wild. But I'm like, how could you just leave? Like, I was like, how can you just get up and walk out? This is like why you go to sporting events. This is what's awesome about it. But man, yeah, some people, they just don't. They're like, oh, so like, I'm like, that's crazy, dude. You know how many people could go to like have season tickets forever and never see a no hitter? Like, it just doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, my dad is a beat the traffic person, and that's one thing that we like have always unanimously disagreed on. Of like, we didn't fuck the traffic. Wait, that is one thing of like, he will, I think, if you convince him of like, just let everybody go. Like, just we'll sit for an hour after the game's done.
See, I'm a complete opposite. I'm wait the hour after the game and let the traffic go. I'm like, I'm not going to beat the traffic. I'm going to go to the bar. I'm going to get a drink. I'm going to get some wings. I'll hang out for like an hour after the game and let everybody clear out. And then I can just drive right home.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's me. I'm like, I'm not going to run out and try to race everybody to the car. No, man, I'm staying for the whole game, staying at the very end. And then everybody else can race out, and I'll hang out for a bit. So yeah, I'm definitely not into leaving early. The only time I'm leaving early is if we got to leave right at the end. We're leaving early to get to the bar before everybody else. Make sure we don't have to stay in the line. That's the only time that I'm leaving even slightly early. Let's get on the next game here. Rangers 7-2 over the Canadians. Rangers got out early in this one, 54 seconds in. Zibanejad we got a goal with assist from Fox and Panarin, and they just kept adding it on there. Ended up going up 4-0 in this one. Of course, Kako got a couple assists in this one. Another player I sat, he got a goal and 2 assists. He had not scored jack this year. Another guy on my bench who had his best game of the whole year, actually had more points in this game than he's had all season. But they got 4-1 before Nick Suzuki put one on for the Canadians. Suzuki added another one as Matheson and Doc got the assist, made it 4-2. We're kind of creeping their way back in, and then the Rangers slammed the door. Schneider with a goal, Schittle with a goal, and Kako with a goal, made it 7-2. Easy win for the Rangers as they're off to another good start this year. 5-0-1, one of the other undefeated teams to go along with the Wild and the Flames so far this year. So they stay at 5-0-1. Canadians drop to 2-4-1. And then the early game, Capitals get a 4-1 win. Capitals go to 4-1 on the year. Flyers drop to 1-4-1. If you guys didn't see this one, we had a all-out 80s style brawl in this one. They let two guys just absolutely go at it and hammer each other, blood all over the place. They were just, stepping back and just waxing each other. I literally just turned I probably had the game on not even 45 seconds and the fight broke out. I was like, oh, here we go. Start things off right. It was a big one. I was trying to think who was actually in the fight. I was trying to look it up here, but it was a great fight between these two, between those two players.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember how to say his name, but Jack Lucenay from the Flyers, and then Mickelrath and Dylan Mickelrath. He's kind of been up and down. He's been kind of that AHL, kind of a tough guy. Had been around the league a little bit. Tough to find a spot, but yeah, definitely two heavyweights. A good classic, stand toe to toe, tire the other guy out. Nobody's going down, and then nobody's punching. After they hit the ice. So just a classic heavyweight. What a great kickoff, like you said, JT. It was first game, first period, 4 minutes in, and you get to see that. What a way to start out the 16 games here.
Well, and talking about something that doesn't happen very often in the NHL, they opened this game with two shorthanded goals back to back by the Capitals, which you almost never see teams score back to back shorthanded goals, especially to start off the game. So the Caps got up 2-0 that one before Sanheim scored for Philly to make it 2-1, and then John Carlson and Shahirin scored 4-1, finished things off. It looked like Ovechkin a couple times were going to add a goal in this game. He ended up not getting one. He had a couple really nice looks that just missed in this one. As we kind of got he got 3 shots on goal. He had 2 hits, 2 penalty minutes, no points in this one. As you know, the watch is on to see when Ovi can get to that haloed mark of NHL record in goal scoring. And I know every night I feel like I'm keeping an eye on it. I want to keep seeing him get up there and get more and more and more. As he got off to the slow start last year, so far it seems like he's a little more in the mix to begin this year.
Yeah, he's definitely getting the shots. Like you said, I think the one you're talking about, he missed the net, had a pretty much a golden opportunity, ended up missing the net, but got a real good shot off. He had a couple power plays where he put the shots on, and the one goal he's got this year went off his skates. So again, typical Ovi, he'll once he starts going, he doesn't stop. He'll get on his roll. It's just he's 38, I think now. So of course it might take him a little while to get going, but once he's going, we'll see what we saw at the end of the year last year, where it was crazy goal, 20 some odd goals in the last 20 odd games. So looking forward to that. 41 now. 41 he needs to pass Gretzky's mark.
Looking at some of the other games in action right now, Calgary getting the first goal on the board. Anderson with the goal. Kirkland and Lomberg with the assist. 1-0 Calgary up. Ottawa, first period, all over the Utah Yeti. I know their name's not the Yeti, but I'm going to call them the Yeti until they officially make them the Yeti, because that is my pick. They're down 4-0 right now to the Senators. Of course, the Senators absolutely rolling, and Toast isn't here to talk about his adopted favorite team. Batherson, my guy, gets a goal to start things off. Then Giroux, Grieg, and then Brady Tkachuk gets one with Stützle and Sherbo. with the assist. 4-0 all over Utah is Ottawa. Edmonton up early 2-0 on Carolina. Nashville 1-0 over Boston. Colorado Avalanche 2-1 over Seattle. Winnipeg 3-2 over St. Louis. And like you talked about earlier, Columbus all over Toronto, up 6-2 right now. Vancouver 4-2 at the end of 2 over Chicago. And in the one game that no one can seem to put any goals on the board, crushing some of us today, is Detroit 1-0 with 5 minutes to play against the Islanders. That's killing me as I'm the Red Wings fan of the group and have way too many Red Wings players on my fantasy teams. Patrick Kane, the one goal in this one. Tarasenko and JT Compher with the assist, which I tell you, Aaron, pretty crazy to say. Vladimir Tarasenko with the assist to Patrick Kane, and they're both on the Red Wings. It just doesn't seem right. It's so hard to get used to. I'm glad they're on my team now, but it's so weird for watching those guys for the last decade play for two rivals, and now they're on the same team.
It's funny. The only guy I have on the Red Wings, I think, is also former Chicago. Am I crazy? Didn't DeBrincat used to play in Chicago?
Yep, absolutely, a former Blackhawk.
So it's just all they did was took all the Blackhawks.
They waited until the Blackhawks got old and terrible, and then they took all their players. It's a great strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reminds me of the old days, the old Norris division when Detroit, Chicago, and St. Louis. Then when the Stars, before they moved to Dallas, then when they were up in Minneapolis, when it was the old Minnesota North Stars. But I mean, you get some just bloodbath games out of there. These trades never happened. You never saw that, especially in the same division. Obviously, Detroit going over to the Eastern Conference now, kind of soft. Yeah, a former Blue, former Hawk, their line mates now in Detroit. It's just like somebody's rolling over in their grave. Some of those old school hockey guys are, what is this? But good times.
I haven't got a chance to watch all of the game, but just looking through some of these stats right now, the Red Wings getting outshot 26-10.
I was about
Only
to say
10
that.
shots on goal for the Red Wings is just horrible. They have not been able to control the puck at all.
Alex Lyon deserves this entire win to himself right now.
He's getting all the stars after this one.
They're playing the game.
The part I was watching too, because I was watching this game before we jumped on here, which I picked the wrong game clearly. But Lyon made a couple sweet saves right before I turned it off. So yeah, he's crushing it right now. But yeah, honestly, I don't know how hockey works, but if I was like the owner and I saw my team had 10 shots on goal by the third, 4 minutes left in the third, I would fire the coach at the end of the game.
If it only was baseball and you could fire the hitting coach, because you're not hitting. That's what they need to do. Too bad there's not one in hockey. That'd be great. But man, miracle they're up 1-0. Got to see if they can hold on here. Only 10 shots on goal. Whew. I don't usually like to say this, but I'm glad I didn't get to watch a lot of this Red Wings game for once. Just ugly. But 1-0 right now. About 4 minutes left, trying to hold on. Vancouver and the Blackhawks. We got a bunch of Blackhawks fans on this podcast. Aaron and Toast down right now 4-2 as they're getting ready to go into the third period here. We're getting a couple of these guys. You're not expecting to get some goals early on. Dan Heinen, 2 goals already for Vancouver in this one. Everybody's wondering where their guys are scoring. And Taylor Hall and Donato with goals for the Blackhawks as they got down 2-0, got back down to 2-1, then 3-1, back to 3-2, and then Garland with an assist from JT Miller Pedersen to make it 4-2 at the end of 2. As most things that, we kind of said it last year, the Blackhawks, we know they're going to be bad. We know they're still building. But they've been staying in games, or at least playing playing people tough, right, Aaron?
Yeah, definitely, JT. And again, it's We've said it a couple of times. You got, 2 ways to rebuild: the rolling rebuild, where you just need a couple of pieces. You got a couple of draft picks that are kind of coming up through your system, a couple guys that are ready to get the ice time, and then you got the total tear down rebuild. And obviously the Hawks are like, again, keeping it kind of local here. The Blues, the kind of rolling rebuild, Blackhawks, the complete tear down. So yeah, I mean, I'd say this year, 2, 3, and 1. What do you want? We're not going to make the playoffs. I would love to comment on the play, but like Toast touched on last week, we're blacked out. Still no deal between the main streaming services, Hulu, YouTube TV. Trying to think of the other one, but anyway, there's no deal. So these Hawks games are on some network that nobody broadcasts. So I feel like we're back to the days when Dollar Bill Wirtz ran it. Not quite that extreme, but when you had to pay, you had Hawk Vision, you had to pay for the home games, like pay-per-view style. It's crazy. It was just insane. What a terrible business model, but got to get that team on. You got you're blocking it out of the local. You got the 1-1 pick, the generational talent. You got all these promos you see on the NHL. You've probably seen the commercial now 100 times where they talk about this generation being lazy and we don't do this. You got Austin Matthews on there, Bedard's on there. It's all these guys, next generation. You want to grow your game. Last thing you want to do is black these out, especially for your locals. So I could go on and on. I'll stop there. So I haven't seen any of it. So I'm literally looking at the box score. Have to wait for the highlights. But yeah, they just don't have, I think, really the defense, and that's they got guys. They just activated the 2 overall pick. Of course, sent him down to the AHL, Lashenov again. Toast is our resident Russian guy. Can pronounce all these names, but he'll be the guy that's there in the future. Seth Jones is there. He's got that forever contract. So we've got Vlasic. We signed him. So we've got some names there. Defense in the pipeline. Once we get that, yeah, I think you'll see some of these. We'll squeak some of these out. 3-2, 2-1 type games. But yeah, this 4-2 right now, where Vancouver's just kind of they're taking out some pent up frustration because they haven't had the start they wanted to. And not a bad start in Vancouver, but again, they won the West last year, so they're taking it out on the Hawks right now.
Edmonton up 2-0 on Carolina, middle of the second. Connor McDavid, we talked about the big dogs. McDavid coming out, both goals in this one already. And that's going to lead us into let's get into our little hot hand, cold hand here. Let's see kind of some of these guys. Let's talk about some of the fantasy guys that have been hot, got the good starts, they got the cold starts. Jump in here. First, let's jump in. Aaron, you give me a couple of your guys, and we'll head over to Jack and have Jack give me some of the ones, some of the top players for him and some guys that have struggled.
Yeah, I'll kind of kick it off with the negative here. I was trying to think of a snappy name for this, so I kind of changed it on the fly here. But I was thinking 3-minute shifts. A 3-minute shift, whether you're playing beer league hockey or you're playing NHL. If you're taking a 3-minute shift in hockey, you're not doing anything. So you're not hitting, you're not taking a hit, you're certainly not scoring, at least at the NHL level. So a 3-minute shift, you're kind of out there skating cold. So my guys right now that jumped out to these 3-minute shifts. Guy that scored tonight, the only goal scorer in the Detroit game, but Patty Kane, 2 assists prior to tonight. He's pulling in about 19 minutes of ice time. He's 35 years old, but 97% of the rosters and fan tracks have this guy. Just again, I realize that. I'm not going to sit here and dog him. I'm diehard Hawks fans. This guy is responsible for 3 cups. But again, at 35, major hip surgery, just a colder start probably than what some expected. Now, with that cold starter, that 3-minute shift, he's going to get his points. He's going to get them. I would not sell on this guy. If I had him, I would sit on him and just wait till those points come in. There's no way, if he's healthy and he plays, let's say 75 games, he may not be a point per game guy, but he'll still get you 60, 65 points, especially on that team. This is an anomalous. 10 shots in this game. No, this throw this game right out, just like the New Jersey Tampa one. You kind of got the you kind of bookmark the games, the high scoring one and the low scoring one. Next one I'm going to go to Victor Arvidsson came over to Edmonton. Got the Edmonton game on now. Just a guy that had some good success around the NHL. Thought that he might come over to Edmonton and make a splash there, but just hasn't got it. No points yet. He's only got 9 shots on goal, but he's still getting about 14 minutes per game. But the thing I don't like about it, he is getting some power play. Now it's power play too. We all know Edmonton. They put their top line out there, and those guys gobble up most of the power play, but he's still getting his power play time. So I'd like to see his shots go up, then the goals will follow. Third guy got Jack Quinn. He's been healthy scratched. We talked about the Sabres a little bit. Sabres are a slow start. Jack Quinn is the absolute 3-minute shift guy. He's just not really getting it done. He's highly touted, though. He's got some talent. Buffalo it's kind of early to call it on this, but maybe not be the place for him. If there's an expectation for these guys to make the playoffs, he might not be a guy you want to have a whole lot of hope in, and maybe he might fit on a roster that's maybe a little bit more established. Just kind of throwing that out. They're not going to trade him, but if they did, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Hyman, as of right now, I don't think he's assisted on any of those McDavid points, but he's no points. 20 minutes ice time, power play 1. He's getting the shots. They're not going in. He's on 100% of rosters in Fantrax, and it's just he couldn't be a worse start for this guy that came off a 50 goal season last year. But again, I would liken him to a Patrick Kane. I would not give up on him. He will get his points. Last guy I've got is just Trevor Moore. We'll see the Kings a little bit later tonight. This dude, last year he was a 4 in our Banger League. Now, granted, this is Banger Leagues, hits, block shots, goals, assists, all those count. He was a 4 point per game fantasy player. So he had a great breakout year. He's never sniffed that. Prior to that, we might not have seen the real Trevor Moore. We might have been bamboozled last year. He's off to an absolute terrible start. Last year might have just been an outlier, and maybe he is that kind of 2 point guy in a Banger League. He doesn't hit anybody. He doesn't get in front of a shot. He's a forward, but he's just not getting on the score sheet. So that's what I got for the 3-minute shift guys.
Yeah, Jack, you got anybody that's hot or cold for you so far to start things off that you want to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, we can go through the cold and then we can go into the hot guys after. But I just was looking again through a couple of my leagues. For me, Bo Horvat is the one that I think I have the most of. I mean, I'm only in 4 leagues, but I have him in 3 of 4 just because he was such a value. And I thought they would be doing better. Him specifically, him and Barzal actually have been off to kind of a slow start. UPL, it's nice to see him put a couple, nice, good solid games back to back. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen for the Buffalo Bills helps me in some season-long stuff. DeBrincat, what's going on with your guy DeBrincat, my man? 3-point explosion and then nothing. Has 1 assist since then. They're in the game right now where it's 1-0 against the Islanders.
That just went final. Red Wings held on 1-0 with 10 shots on goal, 29 saves. Lions got saved right in front of the goal. A tough. They put the puck right in front, made a nice save with about 5 seconds left to save them and win the game. So the Wings pull it out in just ugly fashion. 1-0. 10 shots on goal is all they got.
And then kind of more on the team based. He already mentioned it, but Edmonton, just in general, everybody except for like McJesus and Draisaitl. But like any auxiliary option, like I thought Jeff Skinner would get a little bit more of a hot start. Just he's there to do one thing basically, shoot the puck. Hyman, kind of the same thing. Both of them are off to really slow starts. Feels like just the whole team has struggled, and it's because their goalies are still very mid. And then this is one that I just need you guys to explain to me because, again, I don't know hockey the way that you guys do, what's the deal with Dallas defense? First of all, I have no shares of Miro Heiskanen because he just looked like garbage to me, and he was going so high, and I just took none of him. So that one's not a problem. But Thomas Harley was not bad last year, and I took some late shares of him, and I still feel like I'm holding on. This dude's a drop. What is going on with Dallas defense? Can you guys just explain that to me, maybe? Like, why are they so terrible?
Well, I'll let Aaron answer that, but Thomas Harley, of course, because we want to talk smack about him. He finally got a goal. His first goal of the season tonight.
Oh my
because
God.
because I feel like this is the night. Of course, it's got to be the frozen frenzy. We're gonna get crazy hat tricks from certain guys that are never going to score the rest of the year. We're getting all these guys who will maybe never mention them on a podcast the rest of the season. And we're all getting them scoring tonight. I mean, I'm getting Owen Power scoring 3 assists in a game. Harley here with he's been pretty silent with almost nothing, especially over the last three or 4 games. I mean, he's been negative on a plus minus. He's basically had 1 shot, and if he's lucky, 1 hit in a game. So yeah, you're right, Jack. He's been, until this goal, been real silent.
Yeah, my thing is always like, it's fine if you're not scoring, but if you're not doing anything else, why are you on my team?
Yeah. He hasn't been giving you any peripherals at all right now.
Yeah, I do see he finally scored that goal. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, this is, this league at least counts hits, but not blocks. But it's like, bro, you're a defenseman. You got 5 hits on the whole year. Like, come on. You should have 5 hits a game. What is this?
Well, I was going to say, I was looking up Miro Hiskanen's stats this year to kind of see which one. You're not lying. He does not have a freaking point. I did not realize he is scoreless on the year. He's actually at a negative plus minus on the year. He put up 7 shots tonight. I mean, got nothing out of it, a whole lot of zeros so far, but he did get 7 shots, which is kind of out of nowhere for him, as he's had only 1 shot in 3 of their 6 games, I think. So for 7 shots for him is a ton for tonight. But you're right. I hadn't noticed the slow start from the Dallas defense, but you're 100% on top of that.
Yeah, 97% owned too. Like, it's crazy. And he was a guy that I remember seeing drafted like in the first 8 defensemen off the board. Like, he was highly drafted as a defenseman. I'm like, and I couldn't figure out why in the draft. This is one of those things where it's like, again, as an outsider, because I don't know hockey, I'm just looking at it from the math perspective of the fantasy game. I'm like, why are people drafting this guy? It's like, he sucks. And I say that facetiously, like, in terms of he has not scored a single goal, assist, or power play point, and he doesn't hit, he doesn't block, he doesn't do anything. So it's like, bro, this guy's supposed to be a defenseman. It's like, at the very least, you should be hitting and blocking. So if you're not even serving in peripherals for bangers leagues, like, you're useless. Colton Parayko's outscoring you.
Yeah, I'd agree with you from a fantasy perspective. Heiskanen. So the thing about Heiskanen, I'll say it's about 3 guys in the NHL: Connor McDavid, and anybody that's listened to prior podcasts knows the next guy I'm going to say, Martin Necas and Miro Heiskanen. Those 3 guys, if you watch a game like beginning to end, they stand out with just skating ability. Like, Heiskanen could win a gold medal. He could do a triple. He is arguably one of the purest skaters there is. He's the guy that plays defense. It goes and he just takes the puck right off your stick. Doesn't get in front. He doesn't block shots because he doesn't let you shoot. He is a complete shutdown defenseman. Why are people drafting that guy? Couldn't agree with you more. He rarely shows up on a score sheet because he completely takes out the stud scorer on the other team. And then DeBoer, the coach in Dallas, he is a very structured system there. A forward's a forward, a defenseman's a defenseman. So for Harley, the kid, he was a rookie last year who he almost got 20 goals. Very rare, rarefied air in Dallas for a defenseman to get that. So couldn't agree more with you on your take on defenseman. stay away from Dallas defensemen when you're drafting a fantasy. If you're a Dallas Stars fan or you're just betting on the Stars to win, the President's Trophy, the Stanley Cup, or you just like watching hockey, knock yourself out. This is a team for you. Fantasy, absolutely not. I have no idea why in the top 8 defensemen this guy's going. No. I was the same. I stayed away from him. Harley, if I could have, snaked him, I think JT in our home league. He went about where he should have gone. I thought. I think he was like probably around maybe 10, 11, something like that. So whoever snaked him was good. But yeah, Heiskanen, he's never going to be a Cale Makar in terms of what he does offensively. He's never going to be a Quinn Hughes, but he can outskate all of them. He can bury him when it comes to skating. He's a very talented guy, but just not for fantasy. He's just not a fantasy guy.
And
that context is important, though. And it's like, because I wouldn't know that without having asked the question. That's why I asked in the first place, because it's like that kind of stuff comes up really rarely in other fantasy sports, I think. So I think that's why it slides under the radar, maybe, because I look at that as like you're basically talking about like if I was in an IDP league, Darrelle Revis at his height when he was a shutdown corner was basically useless because they're just not even throwing the ball his way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and
exactly.
It's like he's just completely shutting the dude out, but it's not showing up on the stat sheet what he's doing because there's no stat to be had. So it's like you're saying, like if Heiskanen's so good that like he's not even getting hits and blocks because he's literally just stripping dudes and then sends it down. But then, like you said, part of the system is that, well, he's now the third pass, so he's not getting even the assist.
Yes.
Like that's it. That kind of sucks for hockey purposes, but it's like for fantasy, it's like, yeah. And then what happens is people are slaves to ADP. And I will say, like, I'm talking about like just the draft board and the way that the ADP is set up in Yahoo and then in Best Ball. Like, that's where I mean, like, he was going in like that first like 8 to 10 defensemen off the board. Because like there's tons of dudes that I thought were way more valuable. Just as like a Mike Matheson, for example, was going way later. I was like, that dude's going to score 50 points, easy peasy, compared to who knows what Dallas is going to do for defense.
Yeah.
And to bring up another guy, as we continue to have the most random guys ever on this Frozen Frenzy, Joel Cavaranta, who I probably butchering that name. He has 2 freaking goals tonight for the Avalanche. He has only scored more than 3 goals in a season twice in his 7-year career. And he has 2 goals tonight in this game and now has 3 for the year. Which is just mind blowing to me. I had to look him up because I'm like, who is this guy?
So I didn't.
3 shots on goal. He's a left winger. He's got 2 goals tonight. He's got 3 goals in 2 games. And like I said, he's only scored over 3 goals in his 7-year career twice. Hockey sometimes it's just wild early on.
It all.
Got right up 3-1. So hey, we're just past the hour. So we'll let's hit up your guys who's hot right now. We'll get those kind of finish off the show as we kind of work things to a close here on this Tuesday night Frozen Frenzy. Plenty of action. So even though stick with us here the next couple of minutes, but man, there's a lot of games still playing tonight. So a lot of hockey action throughout the rest of the evening. Aaron, go ahead and hit me up with your guys that kind of been hot. The guys have been got off to the good start so far this year.
Yeah, and this is I'm going to call this the buzzing hands. Hands are just buzzing out there. Whether they can skate or not, who cares? They just got the hands moving. I'm going to leave this to 3 guys, but 3 guys that jump off the page of me. Will Cooley, he's a rookie. Well, was a rookie last year. I'm sorry, in New York Rangers. Just pulled up the score and I just lost it. I just lost my connection here to ESPN, but I believe he had 3 helpers tonight, 4 hits. And I don't think he had any goals, no goals for him, but Right now, out of the gate, he's averaging in a banger league. So again, you got to have we're getting PIMs, we're getting the block shots, we're getting the hits, we're getting points for that in our home banger league. He's pulling 5.46 points per game. Rangers are out to a great start. This guy is he's doing it all though. He's had some games at this 5.46 points per game notch. He's had a couple of games where he's 0 goals, 0 assists. This is all hits and block shots, and he's a forward. So great. He's only owned right now in 22% of Fantrax leagues. So if you're in a Bangers league, chances are this guy's probably sitting out there as a free agent or you're in a redraft. Take a look at him. He's going to get you some points. Next guy, Jordan Eberle, new captain of or just anointed captain rather, of the Seattle Kraken. He's owned right now, and according to Fantrax, about 36% of the leagues. So a guy that may be out there, but he's up to 5 goals, 2 assists. Not sure what he's doing tonight. Looks like Kraken are getting dummied by Avalanche are all over him. McCann dumped one in, but Eberle, he's looked good. I've watched a couple of the Seattle games. He looks good out there. Looks young. He looks rejuvenated. He's kind of taken over what Matty Beniers has gotten off to a complete shit start. But Eberle has picked up the pace, and again, he's about 17, 18 minutes time on ice. Last guy I'm going to mention here is Braden Shen, my much-hated St. Louis Blues, but he's averaging about 4.5 points at our Bangers League, getting about 20 minutes of ice time. So he's out there a ton. But again, he's your prototypical banger. 17 hits so far in the year, 8 blocks, and he's shooting a lot. He's right around 20, 21 shots on goal so far. And he's owned in about 38% of the league, 39% of the league right now at Fantrax. So again, guy that might be out in your free agent, he's worth a pickup. He's off to a great start. If you're not in your league by the time the deadline comes around, could be a guy you pick up now, sit on him, trade him at the deadline. But those three jump out to me so far.
Yeah, Kyle, I was going to say he has 5 hits in 5 straight games. His opener only had 4 hits. That was his low total for the year. So he's getting you 5 hits every night, plus a couple blocks. Plus, he's been shooting the puck. He's got 3 games with 3 shots, 1 game with 4 shots. He only has 1 game where he didn't have a shot this year, and he's grabbing you a couple penalty minutes a night too. So you're right. He's a sneaky good pickup for you. As he's a guy that's going to get you something. You get you something tonight. And he's got a couple assists. He had 2 assists tonight. So adding that to the mix. So yeah, a great call there. Jack, what about you? Anybody in your hot list here that is kind of off to a good start?
Oh yeah, I went deep dive for you guys because that's how I roll.
We love the deep dive. Love it.
I love bangers. So I'm gonna get actually my main guys out of the way, and these are still guys that are 21%, 18%, and 14% owned in Yahoo currently. Josh Norris. Just traditionally, like the story has just always been getting injured, but hey, if he's healthy, I mean, even tonight, he was the one that I played over Hagel because I thought the matchup was better, and they did get off to a 4-0 start. He did get an assist on that Batherson goal. I'm wishing I would have played Hagel, but I'm just saying, Norris, doing all right. He's doing pretty good for points. Alex Laferriere, for the Kings. I love this kid. I've had him in a couple lineups as a streamer. He gets hits, which I love. So if you're in a Bangers league, but he's been getting on the score sheet. He's playing on the top power play, and he's mixing in and out of line 1. So Byfield sometimes will play center, and then sometimes we'll play left wing. When Byfield plays center, Laferriere is the one jumping up to that top left wing on 5-on-5 even strength. So I like him a lot. And then this is where we're going to get into the sickos for you guys. Nick Foligno for the Chicago Blackhawks. Just hits, baby. Hits. But also shots on goal. So he's actually averaging about 3 shots on goal. He has 3 goals on the season. And he's getting about 3 to 5 hits a game and some blocks. So in Bangers League, he's definitely worth an ad and a stream. A real gross one is Lars Eller for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Has 6 points in 4 games. Dude is crushing it right now. So if you just need a deep center stream, this is I don't think anyone's heard this name ever. Cole Koepke? Cole Koepke? I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but he is a fourth line young kid for Boston in bangers. He has 13 hits, 2 goals, and an assist, 9 shots on goal, all in his last 3 games. Dude is going crazy right now. So this is again where I feel like sometimes I will just like pull up the scoring settings of a league and be like, hey, who is in the top 50 right now? Like, I don't care what their names are. And I'll drop dudes that are like 70% owned and they have a name and people are like, oh, what are you doing? You're crazy. I'm like, your scoring settings dictate that I need to make this move because Cole Koepke right now, again, just to give you an idea, I'm going to go pull up a sicko league, like the one that I'm in with it's like all bangers. It counts blocks and face-offs and just like everything imaginable for points. And so I pull up season rank. Foligno is ranked 27th. Nosen is ranked 30th. Koepke is ranked 63. So it's like, yeah, if I got Jeff Skinner on my team ranked like 300 who isn't doing anything, I'm going to drop him for any of the names I just said because they're performing.
And that's why you love to play in bangers leagues.
Yeah, that's
you can get guys like that who just you can just get guys out of nowhere that get you points. It's the freaking best.
But I got 2 more for you, and then I'll
absolutely.
let it go. I got these are more like traditional ads in actual leagues. So if you need a defender, Kesselring, 1 Kesselring to rule them all. So he is a defender that is taking advantage of the unfortunate Dursey injury for Utah. Dursey's out for the season, probably even into next season. Kesselring has jumped up to, he's on the top line with Sergachev on 5-on-5. If he can creep into power play 2, he's going to actually have a lot of value, I think, for the rest of the season. But he's also on a bit of a hot streak right now. He's got back-to-back goals, and he's getting 20 minutes of ice time. So just that, for me, is enough to take a look at him where I need defenders, just to stash. And then for goalie, Dave Rittich has 3 straight starts. He's 2-1. And he played on a back-to-back. I don't know what's going on with Kings goalies right now, if they just don't have anybody else, and they're just like, we're sticking with Rittich. But yeah, the fact that he played on a back-to-back, and so he's playing Vegas tonight, but then he gets San Jose and Utah for the rest of the week. So those are 2 good matchups if you need a streaming goalie.
Very nice. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I know Aaron, we kind of tore into the Jets leading into our season, and of course they win 3-2 tonight over the Blues. They are now 5-0 on the season.
They haven't lost.
Hellebuck, who is my guy, who I drafted in our Dynasty League draft. I'm just riding him all day long. Another great performance for him as he got 27 saves on the night, and another win for them. And Cole Perfetti, 3 assists in that game. So it's just another one for him. Nice game for Saad as he had 2 goals. Rob Thomas also had 2 assists for St. Louis as that one has gone final. The Blue Jackets did hold on to win 6-2 over the Maple Leafs, getting them to 3-3. Maple Leafs dropped to 4-3 on the year. And then, like I said, the Red Wings held off the Islanders. They go to 3-3 with a 1-0 win. Islanders dropped to 2-2 on the year. Vancouver's now stretched the lead to 6-2 with about 7 minutes left in that one against the Blackhawks. Couple Bessier and Suter with goals in the third period there. Colorado sets up 3-1. Nashville up 2-0 on Boston at the end of 2. Edmonton 2-0 at the end of 2 against Carolina. Ottawa in the second is up 4-0. Calgary still holding on to that 1-0 lead in the second, and a couple minutes in to the start of that San Jose Anaheim game, and you got yourself about 15 minutes before the Golden Knights and the Kings drop the puck in that one. Jack, I want to thank you for helping us out tonight, being a guest. Aaron, thanks for holding it down as well. We'll have Toast hopefully back next week. We appreciate everybody who checked us out tonight. Go like and subscribe. Jump onto all the things fantasy and frames, as they've got just a little bit of everything. And if you're a college football fan, you like to do a little of the gambling, stick with us here. We'll be on in just a couple of minutes. Me and Benny D bringing you college football show for the week. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Guys, we appreciate it. We'll check you next week around the ice.